For more, let's welcome in those at the top of my personal leaderboard. CBS Sports golf analyst, data scientist Rick Gehman with us now. Rick, welcome to what should be another exciting Sunday on tour. Before we dive into the cast of characters, let's talk TPC Southwind here on Sunday. What do the numbers tell us in terms of the test that awaits these final few pairings?
The numbers say carnage, Joe Musso. This is a situation where Sunday's round, of course, very early, skewed a little bit by an 11 that Siwoo Kim made on a par 3. The numbers say this course is playing very difficult, over 2 strokes over par. To put that into perspective, it's about 4 shots more difficult on average than the next most difficult round this week. That was round 2. What we're seeing is the course over the course of the last 4 days, firming up, getting a little bit faster out there. The wind has a slightly changed directions and it's whipping, and it's also kind of a high wind. And what I mean by that is you can't really see it on the flag sticks, right? You can't see the flag waving in what direction, but it's up there. And these guys are having a little bit of a difficult time figuring it out here on Sunday, and it's leading to a lot of high scores, which could, in theory, if that continues, open the door for a lot of golfers further down the leaderboard.
We'll see what our leaders can do. They're set to tee off in just a few minutes here. Harris English at the top of that leaderboard maintained his 2-shot 36-hole lead, has a 2-shot lead through 54 here, 2 clear of Bryson DeChambeau and Cam Smith, who sit at 16 under on the week. Let's talk English specifically here for a moment. Rick, as you take a look at the game, leading the field in greens and regulation this week, and that's proven positive as it has been a bit of a birdie fest days 1 through 3. How do you think that bears out here on a tougher test come Sunday?
Yeah, he's going to need to be in complete control of his game. Now, the good news for Harris English is he's been in complete control of his game this week, this year, the last 2 years, seemingly for a very long time. He's a very well-rounded golfer. When you look at his statistical profile, there is not one single flaw in his game, and there is not one huge strength of his game. And when you go to a place like TPC Southwind, that's really valuable because you're not relying on one strength. You're not trying to avoid one issue going wrong. He can just kind of make up for any mistakes that might happen with a different part of his game. And I actually think Harris English is a little bit, he deserves a couple more wins here. I think he's owed a couple from the golf gods. He had an unbelievable statistical profile in 2020. It did not lead to any victories. He was the one that got just absolutely chainsawed by Dustin Johnson at the Northern Trust last year when DJ won that by like 8 shots or whatever it ended up being, 10 shots maybe. And Harris English finished second there. And he finally got one at the Tournament of Champions. He got another one at the Travelers. I think this is going to be a trend, continuing to see Harris English on top of the leaderboard or somewhere close to it for a long time because his game is that strong.
No doubt was a tip of the cap from the golf gods there to get into the Century Tournament of Champions and then win that tournament on the technicality, at least getting in on the technicality and then winning that tournament. Yeah. And it really has turned into a really, really solid season for English, who won that one, also won at the Travelers in that thrilling 8-hole playoff, looking for his 3rd victory of the season, would be the first player on tour to accomplish that in the 2021 season. I want to take you back to that 8-hole playoff. How much value do you put in that, Rick, as we move forward down the stretch here? Pressure-packed moments for the better part of an hour and a half there. Had a couple opportunities to do it under his own putter. Was unable to do that, but ends up with the win no less. 8 holes worth of playoff. Do you think that there's some value in that experience today on Sunday for English?
There certainly is. When you are engaged in any type of playoff, let alone one where you're going back and forth for 8 holes, trying to stay alive, trying to knock out your opponent, it's every single shot is pressure packed. And that's what he's going to feel here on Sunday. Now, the good news is I don't think that this stage is too big for Harris English in any stretch of the imagination. We've referenced the win at the Tournament of Champions, kind of a similar-ish type field. It's a small field. There's no cut. It's usually some of the best players on the PGA Tour who show up in Maui for that week, and it was Harris English who came out on top. And then the 8-hole playoff where he is just in the gauntlet for, an hour and a half, 2 hours, Joe, where it's every single shot is a grind. Well, every single shot is going to be a grind here on Sunday, and he's going to have a guy named Bryson DeChambeau, also with 2 victories this season, trying to chase him down, trying to apply pressure, trying to make him uncomfortable by bombing it 50 yards past him off the tee. But I'm not as worried. Harris English has been cool as a cucumber cucumber. He plays well under stress. We've seen that countless times already in his career and already recently. This stage is not too big. I think he's in pretty good shape heading into his final round.
Quick tip of the cap here to Taylor Hickok, too, who played a footnote to history there in that 8-hole playoff. But as you mentioned it, English is one of 6 players this season with 2 wins on the year. Another one of those, Bryson DeChambeau, who comes in 2 shots off the lead, has been absolutely unconscious on the back 9 this week, has made up a little bit of ground here on the front, but hasn't really moved until the back. I believe birdied 5 of his last 7 on Saturday. We talked about that player of the year conversation a day ago in terms of Harris English, but we cannot sleep on the fact that a win today would be the 3rd and PGA Tour leading 3rd for Bryson DeChambeau. Up and down season, but he still has a couple of trophies to show for it. How big is Sunday for the big man?
Yeah, I think it's huge, and I think it's huge for a couple of reasons. You mentioned the player of the year. It's kind of hard to remember because Bryson did a lot of his work earlier in the season, and he hasn't been as good this summer, but this would be his 3rd victory. But I think even more so, this could be kind of another breakthrough moment for Bryson. And what I mean by that is he has been so committed to bombing driver on every single hole since he has gone through this transformation. Now, we've seen him lose a couple of pounds here in the last couple of months. He mentioned that he lost probably 8 to 10 pounds over the last couple of weeks after testing positive for COVID before the Olympics. And what I've seen him do at TPC Southwind is hit a lot of 3-woods off the tee, hit a lot of 5-woods, hit a lot of irons off the tee, and he's still long enough to be able to compete and be out there with some of the guys on tour hitting their driver. So this might be a moment for Bryson to realize that maybe a little bit of re-strategizing. I don't have to hit driver on every single hole and try to cut every single corner, because if you're just a little bit off in that area, you're behind the trees. You're in big trouble on the PGA Tour. Playing out of the short grass is so much more important, and you're still going to have a shorter club into every single one of these greens than every other player on the tour. So I think this could be a really interesting moment for him. If he does win by dialing it back a little bit, it might unlock something else in his brain that says, hey, maybe I can do this more often. Maybe there are better courses for me that are not just bomb and gouge opportunities. So I'm really interested to see how he plays his Sunday rounds and if it does lead to anything moving forward.
DeChambeau does still lead the field here this week in strokes gained off the tee. Also leads the field in birdies with 20. He's 12 under on the back 9 cumulatively, 4 under on the front 9. When you see that sort of disparity front to back that doesn't necessarily mirror the field, are you expecting him to come out and make a push early here, or is this going to be a closer's tournament for Bryson to really make hay on the back 9 once again on Sunday?
Yeah, as long as he's in the mix when he makes the turn, that's really all he has to do. Just don't play yourself out of it on the front 9. And Bryson is, again, a very strategic, thoughtful player. And I think it takes him a little bit to get into his rounds. We know, and we've heard this countless times, he does not have a stock distance for his clubs, Joe, because it depends on the air density every single day, of course it does. As we know, of course. So there's a lot going on, and I think that the first couple of holes for him is always an opportunity to kind of tread water, to kind of see what's going on, to get his feels about him. And then when he gets everything figured out, if things are going well, he can really apply a lot of pressure and make a run coming in on his inward 9. So I think it is normal for Bryson to be a little bit of a slow starter as he figures things out, and then hopefully, for his sake, if he is still in it by the time they make the turn, he can put a lot of pressure on the guys because he's got a lot of good vibes on those second 9.
Maybe that's what you and I's game is lacking. Just a better grasp on the barometric pressure is maybe what we're looking for. It's not the takeaway. It's not the pass through. Barometric pressure. That's what we really need to key in on. Outside of those two guys, English and DeChambeau, there is a pressure-packed field out there that's going to apply that pressure. Who piques your interest a little bit further down the board? We do have a couple guys at 16 under. It's not just DeChambeau. Who do you think is primed to make a push here on Sunday?
Yeah, I think it could be Abraham Answer. He unfortunately made a couple of late bogeys coming in on Saturday, which kind of derailed him a little bit. But we've seen his name on the first page of the leaderboard countless times this season. Still without a PGA Tour victory. He's the highest ranked player in the world without a PGA Tour or a European Tour victory. So still looking for that opportunity to hoist a trophy. And TPC Southwind, I think, especially in these conditions that we're seeing on Sunday, offer a really good opportunity for him. He's going to hit a lot of fairways. He's not going to hit it very far. par. He's going to rely on kind of the approach play and if his putter can get hot enough. And when a course is playing difficult as it is here on Sunday, I think that's an opportunity for Ancer, who's a bit more of a grinder out there on tour, to kind of run up and steal this one. It's going to take a lot. There's big names ahead of him. There's guys playing well, but I think he has all of the skills to be able to make noise here on Sunday.
Ancer, it's been a quite fruitful stretch for him. He's got 3 top 5 finishes in his last 8 events, so he's been right around it in the conversation. Would love to see the one next to his name when it's all said and done here on Sunday in Memphis. Let's talk about that number next to the winning name. We know these guys go out there when they're in contention saying, I have to shoot X, I have to get to X. What is that winning number? We're looking at 18 as a lead right now. Plenty of birdies out there. It is playing a bit tougher here on Sunday. What's a number in your mind right now?
I think if you handed Harris English 21 under right now, he'd probably take it. That would essentially give him 5 shots on the rest of the field. Bryson or Cam Smith or Abraham Ancer would have to go out and shoot something pretty low. And while there are scoring opportunities on the second 9, we know what happens on a Sunday afternoon on the PGA Tour. Things tighten up. The pressure starts to mount. You're not as exact in most cases as you would like to be. So it would be hard to imagine that someone's going to go blistering on the back 9, shoot a 29, 30, or 31. It's certainly possible, but I doubt it. So I think for Harris English, who already has a 2-shot lead, if he can just get 3 more under par, which by the way that things have played so far at TPC Southwind should not be an issue, I think that would be a really safe number outside of the fact of someone going super low and stealing this thing away from it.
Well, if you don't follow him already, you should. Winning picks, free game all the time at Rick Run Good on Twitter. I personally live for the head says, heart says, pocket says type situation that we get each and every week. I need your pick to win. Your head says what, your heart says what, and your pocket says what, Rick Gehman?
My head says Harris English. He's got a 2-shot lead. My heart says Harris English. He's going for his 3rd victory of the year. My wallet says Harris English because there's a really good number on him before this event started. And I think this is an opportunity for him to not only solidify his name in the Player of the Tour, Player of the Year conversation, but also solidify his place in the FedEx Cup standings. Because remember, Joe, when we get to Eastlake, we have starting strokes. And being the #1 player in the FedEx Cup standings starts you at 10 under par and gives you an opportunity to make an extra $15 million. Harris English has made a lot of money in his career, but $15 million would still be a big boost. His game is in complete control. He gets his 3rd win today.
Seldom do the head, the heart, and the pocket all align.
Rare.
But here we are on a Sunday. Rick Gehman breaking it down on CBS Sports HQ. Enjoy the action, Rick.
Thanks,
and don't forget, there's plenty more Rick Gehman to be had on the First Cut podcast. As was mentioned, winning picks, can't miss analysis each and every week, round by round. Our guys take you under the ropes and into the action on the First Cut pod. With the playoffs just around the corner, there's no better time to join the conversation than right now. Download, subscribe, and enjoy the First Cut podcast. And do not forget, there's only one place to be for the thrilling conclusion of the WGC FedEx St. Jude Invitational. That's with us on CBS. Final round action coming your way in moments. That's live on CBS and streaming on Paramount Plus. And join us right here on CBS Sports HQ post-round for full highlights and post-round analysis. Can't miss picks. Everything coming your way when this wraps up in Memphis. Enjoy the action as we send you out to TPC Southwind for the final round of the WGC FedEx St. Jude Invitational.
Want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.